So it's really nice to chat to Emma again, who is back kind of chatting to me. I think probably less than a year since you chatted to me, Emma, but I think we figured it out. It is just over a year since we started working together. And we did a video really because you had found IEMT so helpful in what you were going through. And we probably do little bit less IEMT now, although it still pops up. But this was really just to catch up to let everyone know, like things never really stop changing once you've gone through that initial shift, when you've gone through
Yeah.
that release of what you went through. So do you want to just tell everybody like how you found me, why you were looking, and then we'll go through the rest of the story.
Yeah. So in 2018, I had a really significant accident. I was working as a dog behaviourist whilst dealing with two dogs. I got really badly attacked and really significant injuries to my arms, which led to a huge amount of trauma. And I was having really bad PTSD, and things in my past had accumulated. So I'd developed complex PTSD, and I tried lots of other types of therapy, trauma therapy through a psychiatrist, worked with other counselling services, done talking therapy, and um, um, another form of eye movement therapy, EMDR, but
Mhm.
still really, really struggling. And I was recommended you by one of my friend's mums who had been with you and said
Mhm.
that they'd used the IEMT and it had really, really helped them significantly with their trauma and how they felt. And I was desperate to try and get out of this hole that I was in,
Yeah.
um, and reached out and we started working together. And that was the beginning of things, my whole life starting to change for the better. And it was like the beginning of the journey almost that really significantly took away you know, the trigger points that was creating the really, really bad, um, PTSD, all the, panic attacks. That was the kind of initial stages of trying to work through that and move some of the memories and stop it
Yeah.
reigniting every time the little triggers came in.
Yeah. And so if you think about like daily life, how it was then, if you can remember, because it obviously has changed so much for you, then, can you describe the kinds of, how you were feeling, how your body was feeling, what you were kind of dealing with day to day?
Yeah. So I had a constant aching in my back. Like I actually thought that it was a physical pain because I'd had a muscle removed from my back and used to reconstruct my arm. But I actually established later on down the line that there was some pain there that was caused by physical pain, but a lot of it was being caused by muscle tension. So my back was really sore all the time. I just felt constantly on edge, like the smallest thing. Somebody shouting, a dog barking, the way somebody looked at me, anything could set me off. And I just lived in this constant state of fight or flight where, you know, it was just like the next turn was going to create a panic attack. And that I had been living with that for the best part at that time of 6 years since the accident, you know, but things hadn't been improving. If
Mm.
anything, I would say it was accumulating and getting worse because the more stressed I became, the quicker I was becoming triggered. It was affecting my relationship with my partner, with my wee boy, with the rest of my family. Um, I was really struggling in work to manage even small levels of criticism would pure tip me over the edge and I would feel like I wasn't good enough. So everything, to be totally honest, just felt overwhelming all the time. And I was just about surviving. Um, I would say like I was pretty much rock bottom and it had been really hard after my accident, you know, but having been 6 years down the line at that stage when before I started working with you, it almost was worse because the kind of physical stuff was nearly resolved,
Yeah.
but the mental stuff was just like festering almost. And I just felt like I couldn't never get out of it. I didn't know what else to do because I'd tried so many things.
Mm.
And I didn't really know how I was going to progress. I wasn't really managing in any aspect of my life. Socially, I was finding it hard, and family life, work life. Although I was working, I'd been off sick multiple times. Yeah, I just felt like I didn't know where to turn. Um, but starting that work with you was like the precursor that started to change everything. Hence why I'm still working with you years later.
And it's so lovely because obviously we had a catch up last week and we just kind
Yeah.
of reflected on some of the changes. And I think we realized it was actually the first time we'd ever really done a full session of just Reiki where he just came in, told me what was going on, and just kind of celebrated where you were and went, I can rest of the
Yeah,
bed because
totally.
although it's been a year of like, a lot of movement, it's been a lot of work for you. And I know it's not always been completely plain sailing. And obviously, you've got a partner and a son, and there's all the things that go with families and all of that kind of thing. But I suppose what I should ask you is the immediate effects that you found
Yeah.
from IMT, because we first like booked two initial sessions to see how you went, and we kind of did those in the first like 2 to 3 weeks apart, I think.
Yeah.
So how did you find it first once you'd had that couple of sessions?
For me, it almost felt like even after that first session, like we'd managed to close some massive doors,
Hmm.
um, and almost instead of this being the trigger would create for me what felt like a 3D movie, like I was living in it.
Hmm.
It would be like instant. It would turn it on. I could see it, hear it, smell it. I was there in it, and it wouldn't be. It would just, and it wouldn't just be the dog instant. It could be anything, and it would be my whole body. Once I'd worked with you, things may still have triggered me, but it was like the memory was there, but the memory was a black and white image on a wall.
Hmm.
It was an acknowledgement. It was a oh, and I was just like, I can't believe that we've went from, for me, like living in a nightmare to it's like as if, if it was a nightmare, now it was me closing my eyes, I could see it, I could open my eyes, it was gone.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
it was I wasn't in it anymore. I was just in for the first time, and I don't know how long. I felt like I could just breathe, that I could be present in the moment and not concerned that the past was just about to engulf me again. And it was that first session was so emotional, and just it was actually so easy as well because some of the treatments that I had had before were so involved that but like in a really traumatic way, whereas this was so different. You do need to move through it, but it was quick, and it was
Yeah.
almost targeted straight to the point, and then it almost diffused it. Like you're really like, right, give me your bomb, and you diffused it, and you were like, there you go. And it just felt like everything started to slow down,
Yeah.
and then very smooth. And it only really took the two first sessions within 2 weeks each other to really actually smooth out the worst parts of
Yeah.
the trauma, the things that were really getting to me. And then
It
it
was the
became, mhm.
yeah, go on.
I was just going to say, like, it helped me. I slept, my sleeping was better.
Hmm.
During the day, I just felt like I like breathe a bit better and be more aware and I start to appreciate the little smaller things because all of that gets almost blurred out when your brain is so focused on all these scary, like a big tiger's going to jump out and eat you at any time.
Absolutely. Yeah,
That's what it felt like
absolutely.
all the time. And I just quietened down all the noise, and it was strange, but in a really, really nice way because I'd lived with it for so long and actually it had cumulatively been getting worse. You know,
Mm.
when you're sitting in something, it's like a nightmare, but you
Yeah,
know,
you get used to the nightmare. Yeah.
you kind of get used to it to
Yeah,
a certain
I know.
extent.
Yeah.
You hate it, but you know, it's your normal. But I absolutely like just I just it just changed. It just felt like it changed everything. It changed, and it gave me so much hope. I was
Yeah.
like, I know we're
For
not
like
out the
the
woods
rest of
yet.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we can start. You know, for a long time, I had just been trying. I was like, I'm not willing to look inside this box, and the box had burst open years
Mm.
before I seen you, and it kept pouring out, and I was trying to put it all back in, but it didn't fit any longer, and it just got worse and worse, and it was kind of like, oh, you'd organised my box, and it was there, and it was like, okay, it's fine.
I love that analogy of like, oh, just trying to keep it
I
all
was
in.
like,
And
just
it's like, and this is what I
try to
love
sit in
about
it,
saying,
like,
I know
mm,
Claire that talked to me on here as well. She was like, I just felt like everything was coming out everywhere and I'd no control of it. But I suppose the initial, I can remember the first conversation that we had, and it was really about, look, day to day life is becoming tricky because actually I'm out with my son and there's things happening about me and I'm jumping all the time. It was really those initial kind of, can I just get to this place where I can be easier in my
yeah,
day? So I'm going to skip ahead before I go back,
yeah,
right? Because
yeah.
just want to just clarify that Emma's had the most amazing achievement in the last week or so, because you've just done
Yeah, I've done my first triathlon. I've done a
amazing.
super sprint triathlon called the Wee Beastie. It would tomorrow will be 2 weeks ago I done it,
Mm.
and it was 10 years in the making. Um, I'd started the journey just before I fell pregnant with my son, put it on hold whilst I'd had him and was breastfeeding, and then started training again, and then my accident happened, and I genuinely thought I would never be able to get back to this, and not just from a physical point of view, because you know my arm's still quite limited and things, and you know, however, a lot of it was psychological. I was just like, I'm never going to have room for this. I'm never going to be able to do any of this, and I did, and I feel like. I feel like you have been on that journey with me, like helping me achieve that in
Oh,
every
I was crying
aspect.
my eyes out. I was like, oh God, I'm so
um,
proud.
you know, you said something really important to me last week, and you were like, if you'd done this 10 years ago, it would have been an achievement. But after everything now, it's not just an achievement, it's like this massive milestone that's, I appreciate it so much more.
Yeah, yeah,
And um, it's almost like a symbol for me. It's like pure the hope, the everything, every step that I've taken on this journey
yeah,
with you, and all the work that I've done has accumulated to this point, and it was almost like me proving to myself, like it all came together.
yeah.
So it was the swim in the loch, and then a cycle, and then a run. And I wasn't trying to get a time, but I'd kind of set in my mind, right, it would take me about an hour and a half, and then I managed to do it in an hour and 15 minutes. I know, yay! And I had bought my triathlon suit 10 years ago, and I managed to fit back into it. And I was just so delighted. I felt all retro in my tri suit, 10-year-old tri suit, but I finally got to wear it. And it was
Yeah,
like a total symbol of that
yeah,
part of Emma never got lost. It just took me a while to get her back on her feet and get her moving.
yeah,
And you know, all the work that we've done has allowed me to appreciate that everything happens for a reason. And at the beginning, you can't really see that, but I can now pull on my experience that, you know, the trauma of the attack and everything that I had to go through physically, psychologically, spiritually, emotionally. When I'm doing that triathlon and I'm struggling, and in my head, I'm like, you could just stop, and I can just be like, it's just one foot in front of the other. It's no, like, you know, if you got through that, you can get through anything. Um, and but it's taken you to really coach me through that everything, that it's been an accumulation of your work and words and wisdom and all the little skills, all these wee, you're like my guide in life, helping me figure out how we're going down.
I
And
know.
it's been really, really, really important. And I genuinely, like, a year ago when I met you, that wasn't even remotely on the radar, you
Hmm.
know, and all I really wanted was just a little bit, like you say, of more peace day to day. But actually our work has accumulated to far more than that. It's,
So much
you
more,
know,
so much
so
more.
much more.
Yeah. And it wasn't, obviously we've worked with IEMT and we still do occasionally if there's something that but obviously the things that I do have evolved over the time that we've been working together. And I think, there wasn't just obviously there was your accident, but there was, on top of that, because of that, it was how your body felt, how you weren't moving, how your diet had changed, all the other things because of your diet, things that were
Absolutely.
coming up that were underneath in the first place from, I know there's some autoimmune issues which we're digging through again now. And but really what I noticed in what we spoke about the other day was that agency that you have in your own life again, how you back in the driving seat, how you make decisions for yourself, how you have built confidence in yourself. And it isn't just me, we have sessions, but you've done an awful lot of the background work and helped yourself. You've stuck to the journaling. We've done SSP together. We've done all sorts of things, included your son in some of the sessions as well, where,
Yeah.
that's felt appropriate. And it's been so holistic the way that we've worked together. When you came through the door, not this weekend, but the weekend before, it was like, my God, you're like the tiniest little version of, what I saw you fit, strong, healthy. And you can tell, there's so much more capacity in your nervous system. And I
Yeah.
think that's really watching you run, because obviously there was things come up about that, and we worked a little bit with metaphors of movement stuff that I'm exploring now, really noticing where you are. And I know you've sought other help from other places where it's been necessary, so you've done the work, you've put yourself back in the driving seat. And it's just so lovely to see, because not only is it just, oh, I've just got over this, little piece where I can live life peacefully, your family's more at peace. So there's better
Oh,
decisions being
absolutely.
made there. Your son's in a better place. You're enjoying life again, holidays, things that were a real issue before because it's, oh my God, what's going to happen? This
Yeah.
constant state of anxiety is, we still get it. We still get our moments. We still get our up and down days. But it's just, I can look at this now and I can reflect
Yeah.
and I can see where I'm going. And I know it's for a purpose. And whatever it is, I've I can handle this.
Absolutely. And I
Yeah.
would say a massive piece for me, and you said about me feeling I'm more in the driver's seat, has been about controlling the things I can control. And then I became so controlling almost, but I didn't feel like I had any ability to drive the most important things.
Mm.
So I controlled all the little things, which had made me become almost like obsessive about
Mm-hmm.
certain things, because when you don't feel you're in control of your health or your mental well-being, or if the big things going on around you, it's easy to become bogged down in the little things. And
Absolutely.
sometimes I remember texting you in the middle of the night and just being like, and this has happened, and like totally over analyzing everything. And you're like, but it's okay, it's okay. Just like, it's okay to feel not okay. Like, take a step back.
Mm.
You don't have to think about it in such great detail. Sometimes it just is what it is. Like, and
Mm.
almost like that little when it's like a drip and then it accumulates into a pool. That's what it felt like. All the work that we've done, whether it be discussions about, my thyroid issues or autoimmune immunity, diet, well-being, exercise, like even little things, because there's been things that have got worse, like
Mm.
physical things. Well, maybe not worse isn't the right word, but I think that there's been a lot of things underlying that had been
Yeah.
really affecting me.
Come
We
up.
didn't know
Yeah.
what they were,
Mm.
and it's allowed it to come up to the surface, which then allowed me to deal with it. But now that I'm like, okay, I don't really need to control the little things. I used to get so overwhelmed at the idea of going on holiday because there was all these things that needed done. And I'm just like, okay, if you
Mm.
forget something, go and buy it. Like,
Yeah.
and I know that sounds like the most insignificant thing, but I just felt like I had no capacity to even deal with that.
Yeah.
If I had forgot something, I was a failure. I can't do anything. Like, I'm not good enough for anything.
Mm.
And we've really worked on that, like how I feel about myself, being kind and, giving myself a little bit of a hug and being gentle. And I would really, really say, because there's so many things every time I speak, I think of another thing. Like, even like, so when you done the sessions, what was it called, Emma? When I came to the yoga barn,
Oh yeah, we did
the
the reconnection course, yeah, which
yes,
was really a lot of really slow somatic and self-inquiry,
yes,
really. Yeah.
yeah. So, doing the breathing and the yoga nidra and the stretching and the journaling and
Mm.
being that present, and I started to become aware of, like, little things, connecting back into myself,
Yeah.
listening to the little whispers. I'm not my body's not screaming anymore
Mm.
because I slowly started to fix it, but and I'm now listening to what I need. And
Yeah.
it's funny because sometimes that old voice comes back in and it's like, just do this or just do that, just do the behaviours. And I really need to check myself and go, no, no, like that my coping mechanism was always move. Don't ever sit in it. Don't listen. Don't feel the feelings. Just move, 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 achieve, 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 as if the achievements were all that was important.
Mm.
Um, I didn't want to be on the journey. I just wanted to get to the destination. I
Mm.
didn't want to feel. I didn't want to see, but actually, like, the comfort in now trusting instinctually and listening and being. And even I've been away for 5 days, and like, whilst I've been away, like, it used to be when I went away on holiday, I would always drink alcohol. I would always, like, eat all
Mm.
these, like, treat yourself.
Yeah.
But actually, my body doesn't need any of that. What it needs is rest and good nutrition and quality time and being slow and steady. And I'm learning to give myself that now. And
Mm.
I don't come back needing another holiday. I come back
Yeah.
refreshed and I've enjoyed my time. And it's been busy, but not manic.
Yeah.
But I've still have all these little things that keep me grounded and keep me in that right place, and do my breathing and do, my SSP and all these things. Like, that's all so important. It's become like a routine almost. And you've really coached, I feel like we've touched on every aspect of health, well-being, you know, exercise, diet,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I
It
can't
all
tell you how it
interlinks, really, doesn't it? It's
is.
all like it
It is.
doesn't, you can't
Yeah.
kind of deal with one
No.
without affecting
No.
the other. I always say this. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
And for anybody that's considering reaching out to you, I would say that for me, I always wanted to know everything all at once, and you've been particularly good at just giving me the little drips. And this isn't a quick fix. This isn't a just we get a little bit of something. For me, it was far more than that.
Mm.
I had tried all the quick fixes and nothing had worked.
Yeah.
So for any significant amount of time, but you have been so, like, authentic and calm and adaptive and everything that I could have asked for, because I can be all over the place. I come in and we might have a plan about what a session's going to be, and I come in, I'm like, bleh, and you're like, oh, okay, this is where we're going today, and that's okay. And you're never judgy and you're never anything. But you're also good at, I feel, as I said, adapting, and you're always thinking, right, well, what tool can you use in your
Yeah.
vast array of your toolkit now to help me? Um, and that's just so good because, we can have a plan for 4 weeks' time and then life flings a big spanner in the
Exactly.
works and we
Yeah,
don't know
exactly.
how we're gonna go.
Yeah.
Um, and some big things have happened like this week. And you don't even know this yet, but this week found out that my wee dog's got cancer. And Cassie's been such an important part of our life. And don't get me wrong, I am really, really
Yeah.
sad about this. But this would have tipped it. I'm not kidding on. If this
Mm.
had happened last year, I would have fell apart because she is such a big part of my life, and we know she has cancer, but we don't know what type yet
Yeah.
because she had to get further surgery, so she had that yesterday, and I've been away with my son, and my partner's been here with the dog, and we've not even been here, and it's just been. But I've managed to hold it together,
Mm.
but not in a oh I'm pretending I'm holding it together, in an actual
Yeah.
right, okay,
Yeah. How do we deal with
what's
this and
going to
how
be
do
will
we,
be, and we know that we're getting her the best.
mm.
And I don't want to think about her life being ended shortly, and her life without her.
Mm.
But I know that regardless, we're going to give her everything that she needs, and we'll get everything that we need
Yeah.
from her.
Yeah.
Um, and me being able to cope with that, me being able to get through that at such a challenging time is just like
Yeah.
there's no way I would have dealt with this. Does that make sense? And
Absolutely. Yeah. You've got that
everything
extra
that
bit
we've
of
done,
capacity
yeah,
to be able to
yeah,
listen and yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And I feel like a huge amount of that is you've helped me understand that things happen for a reason, and that at the beginning you might not see how this could ever be a positive,
Yeah.
how anything positive could ever come out of such significantly bad news. But like that where there is darkness, there is light, and we must not become overwhelmed with that sensation. It's okay
Absolutely.
to feel the feelings, you need to sit in them, you need to let them be, to have the cry, to speak it out, let it out into the universe, but also be aware that, you can create your own positive energy and
Yeah.
you can
You can
use
manage
all,
it. You know,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
that, I think it's that thing of, life does happen, unfortunately.
yeah,
And as much as we'd like to think we have control over it, we actually really don't. And so it's kind of nice to be able to know that and accept
yeah,
it and move through life and kind of it is awful. Some of the things that happen in life are really awful, but it's how we manage it, it's how we
yeah,
respond to it rather than react, which I think is where, a lot of us
yes,
are sometimes, but also I know that's kind of where you were, where everything was very much
oh,
about something's happened, I need to respond like this. And it wasn't just obviously, what had happened with your accident. It was lots of other stuff
no,
that lay underneath that, which we won't go into, but it's kind of, that accumulation to that point of I'm just actually full up with this and I can't control it. And it's like a volcano that's going to go off anytime. Every time I do something, something else happens. And I think that's the nice thing about seeing where you are now and why you're such a testament to things like IEMT and SSP and the journaling and all the other little bits that we've done together is
absolutely,
because it's kind of, you say it's not a quick fix, but actually it's just been just over a year of, you know, ups and downs and lots of things happening and life happening around you and you making decisions, one worked, one didn't. But actually it's only been a year. When you've struggled for an awful long time, like years, like I did, 30
oh,
years,
absolutely,
then when you find
absolutely,
something that actually just opens up, like you say, where you can just organize that box a little bit, just even the tiniest bit where you can start to say, okay, well, I've got control of this thread. And then tomorrow I might have a little bit of that thread and then I can deal with the next thing. But actually, I think that's what the work does is it enables you to see things a
yeah,
little bit more clearly so that it's not just this big tangled ball of chaos where you don't even know where to start. And
yes,
that's where you can start to listen to yourself and listen to your body, because if you're highly stressed, if you're highly in that state of everything is going to make me jump and scream and shout, then sitting and doing some breath work and meditation is not really going to work. In fact, you're probably exhausted by the end of it and think, I'll just go to bed and put my head under the covers. I'm a realist. I've lived that life myself, and it's lovely to have all of these things, and it's lovely. I love meditation. I love doing all the things, but when you're exhausted from just living life, then that's really hard work. And when I look
Oh,
at you now,
absolutely.
going from that state where actually I can cope with this amount to now I've just run a triathlon, and not only have I run it, I've run it, cycled it and
Yeah,
swam it, but I've
yeah.
enjoyed it, and I've actually
Yeah,
celebrated myself at the end of that, rather than it being just a place to get to where, right, what's next. And that's really lovely. That shows the kind of tapestry of life and how joyful it
yes,
can really be when you have those small moments for yourself of like, I did this. Yeah, it's lovely.
absolutely. And you're totally right. Before we started, um, you know, I was regularly getting Reiki and, trying to engage in so many holistic, mindful, you
Mm,
know, and that's kind of all that was getting pushed on me, even from a medical point of view. Oh, you need to do a little bit, give yourself a little bit more time, and you need to. I couldn't do anything. I
yeah,
needed to sleep for 12 hours a day because I was totally overwhelmed, and which is not feasible. 12 hours a day when you've
yeah.
got,
Yeah,
a
little boy.
7-year old doesn't work. Um, Everything was overwhelming. I would go to Reiki and I couldn't even be present in that moment because the slightest little noise would set me off or
Yeah, you
feelings, and
jump on.
I was just like what, constantly. And I just feel like I live on a totally different planet now.
Yeah,
Like I'm like, oh, and I think you're totally right. I'm like, it wasn't a quick fix, right? In the sense of I think some people think they just come and boom, it's done.
yeah, two
And
sessions
maybe
and I'm out. Yeah.
yeah, but I have to say that the 2 sessions
Mm,
done, 40% of the work for me, getting me out of that really highly traumatic state that I was in,
mm.
enough that I could then steadily put in, say, the last 60% to get to my
Absolutely.
100% of where I am just now.
Enabled you to do the rest of the work,
Yes,
which was, yeah.
yes,
And I think that's what I
100%.
see why those IMT sessions are so important at the
Oh, so
beginning, because
important.
it's just like once we can actually get some sleep and we can see things a little bit clearer, then everything else, the choices become, just have more discernment, really. I think you're just able
Yeah,
to see things as they really are, rather than from that really
yeah,
reactive, frightened place, which is a really,
yeah,
really scary place to be. um
absolutely.
you know
And in the process of you doing it with the IMT, as I said, wasn't really traumatic comparatively to some of the stuff that I'd done
yeah,
before, but the how significantly it proved it comparatively, like, some of the other therapies, you're talking about 3-4 hours of consistent,
exactly.
constant work,
Yeah,
visualization, being there in the moment, like so traumatic, like hysterical. And we're talking about over a month you're doing that to get like a marginal difference in
it's
your day to day.
exhausting. Yeah, it's really
Oh, like,
exhausting.
and it's almost, you go into some of the sessions with the EMTR and you come out even worse, and it's days of exhaustion to build yourself back up just enough to start again. Whereas with your
I've
sessions, I
never
come in,
experienced it, but yeah, I know a couple of people that have. Yeah, it's similar.
and don't get me wrong, I totally appreciate that for some
Mm,
people it can really, really help, but for me, for how significantly impacted I was, I just didn't have the capacity to be doing it then. Maybe if that work had started years before, when I wasn't quite as bad,
exactly.
it
Yeah.
would have helped. But it hadn't, and I had given it a good 6 sessions of 6 hours worth, and it hadn't worked. And then I come in and done 1 hour with you.
Mm.
Sorry, I think the first session we done like maybe an hour, and then you done some work to help me
Just slowed
calm and
everything
to
down.
slow
Yeah.
everything down so
Mm.
that, I left in a better place, in a much better place, as opposed to coming and doing all this work and just being exhausted and just like, right, that's us done and
Dropping you back
goodbye.
into the family
Yes.
again.
And I felt like even that, even you know, I just felt so safe and supported, and I feel like you're dead intuitive about how far to go and how when to stop and when, you know, maybe we could push it a wee bit further. And I think that that's super important as well. Whereas
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like you've done it, you lived through this, it helped you, and you know the importance of, because you've lived in it, each part and how important it is. Whereas sometimes I feel, and this is not bashing other people, but other clinicians that learn and they purely learn from a theoretical point of view and practice certain things
Mm.
haven't necessarily experienced it, so they don't maybe appreciate and understand the importance of making sure you are safe and calm and ready to re-enter back into the world after doing such,
Yeah,
you
it can
know,
be, when you,
exposing work.
yeah, it's tough.
You know, yeah.
It's a tough,
And I just
although
feel
it's
like you've,
quick, it's a tough session, and
yeah,
it's exhausting. That's what I would say for a lot of people.
yeah,
I would say just, let your body guide you a little bit. Make sure that you've got some nice, nourishing food, somewhere safe to land, and just, if you need to rest, rest. And if you, yeah, I've had a few people say I'm just off for a run, and never made it, and like collapsed on the bed for like 3 hours. It's just allowing it, and I think that's definitely how I felt after my sessions, and so it's really important. Particularly I live on my own, so it's fine. I can just come home and rest. But when you're going back into that family, to reorientate yourself
yeah,
after churning up that stuff, even though it feels more settled, your body and your mind need time to just be, to process, and
yeah.
to feel like that you're safe again before you head back into the big bad world out there. So
And
if
that
I
is
was, yeah, go on.
absolutely the way I felt with you. And the first sessions, you were really good at helping me plan that out. And,
Mm,
you know, because my partner and my son were bringing me and dropping me off and ensuring that, you know, going, oh, maybe not the best idea to go out for dinner or take your child to the skate park afterwards, which had been my initial plans. Um, you were
yeah, if
like,
anyone knows
maybe
Calvin
not.
Grome's skate park
Yeah,
on a
don't,
Saturday would know it's
yeah.
not.
So it'd be like, I was like, oh, well, we'll do it first then, and then go home. And oh, it was absolutely amazing. I went home with the boys and we just curried up and then just had that. And do you know what? It was the first time in a very, very, very long time that I actually felt safe and calm and enough to just be there. And that was the first, I'm not kidding on, possibly in about 8 years that that I'd felt like that, and I wasn't sure if that was ever going to return.
Mm,
And now that I would say like that's my normal now, you know,
yeah, yeah,
which is beautiful because to not know whether something's ever going to come back to it now being your
yeah, yeah. This is who I am
place,
now.
90,
This is my
yeah,
peaceful
this is
place. It's
me,
just my life.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if
So
I
just
was to kind of ask you, when you first started your journey just a year ago, and obviously this is really significant because you've just had this huge milestone, which is
yeah.
like we're all going to be cheering for you. Um, you know, what would you say, even like, a couple of sentences about the changes and how just anything that sums it kind of up.
I'm quite a metaphorical person, so for me, um, I kind of feel that it's been a bit like a metamorphosis.
Mm.
You know, my mental health had almost created this strange cocoon that was encasing my ability to express myself and grow and adapt. I was so rigid because I was so overwhelmed. And the IMT almost was like broke my cocoon open and
It
allowed
certainly
me to
does.
start emerging and let me open my wings and, you know, start to dry myself out, to start fluttering about like a little butterfly. And I feel like almost the the triathlon was like me taking my first proper flight, you know, and
Yeah.
well, this is it now. Like, you know, I've kind of unfurled and I'm, you know, I'm back to what was
Yeah, what it
intended
was
to
always
be.
intended, that
Yes,
essence that
yeah,
you hold
yeah,
inside. And it
yes,
was so beautiful to watch the video. I can't wait for you to let me share it, because it's just
yeah,
like, yeah, it's just the elation. And obviously,
yeah,
knowing that your family was there as well to really support you in that, especially your little boy, because that would mean the world to him, being a little sports star that he is himself. Then,
yeah.
it's just lovely to see. Thank you, Emma, for sharing that today, and really well done
My
on all the hard
pleasure.
work that you've done over the last just over a year, really. So it's been
Thank
an
you.
incredible journey working with you, and I hope to continue to do more together.
Yeah.
So yeah, lovely.
Thank you so much for all your support. And um, I really, really can't express how much I appreciate, you know, everything that you bring to all your clients. You're a very, very special soul, Emma. And
Signing off now.
I've been guided to you, and
Good.
I feel like, you've got so much to give, and everything that you have been through has brought you to where you are just now. And as tough and difficult that has been,
Yeah.
I'm very grateful that you have done everything you have done to get you to here to
To
help us
get me
all
to
out.
the other
So
side, to bring you over with me.
yes, yes, come on, join me over here. It's nice. So thank you so much. I
No,
really
it's been
appreciate
an
it.
absolute pleasure. And thanks for taking time out of your hectic schedule and your holiday for coming to chat to me, Emma. And
Not at
see you
all.
soon. Take
See
care.
you soon. Bye.